Chola. I attend Lincoln University of Pennsylvania. We're a junior there. My question, when I was standing up, I really didn't know that the questions were supposed to be directed towards one particular person. So pretty much anybody that feels they want to answer can answer.
Yes, anyone can answer.
Yes. My question is with regards to focus. See, I'm a young African man from Lusaka, Zambia. And coming to America, I mean, focus is an issue. Distractions are everywhere. Skirts, on TV, everywhere. And my question is, to get to the positions that you've been in, how have you handled distractions, quote unquote, distractions?
That's a bomb question. But real talk, anybody seen the movie The Last Samurai?
Yeah.
Okay, and let me give you this example. This is going to hope this brings you home. In The Last Samurai, there was a scene where the guy who was Tom Cruise, he had been practicing, and he was going to fight this guy, and it was the #2 guy, so he could try to get to be #1. So if you see the movie, he's with the sword, and he's doing this and doing that, and all of a sudden, he starts thinking about everything else that happened in his past. And when you talk about focus, if you're doing something that you're supposed to be doing, you can't start thinking about everything else that's happened yesterday, because when he did that, and there was a little kid on the side, the son of the guy, Cruz got his ass kicked. But he really got his ass kicked. And I'm saying that because he thought he was really good, and he got his ass kicked. And so the little kid came up to him in the movie, and if you remember, the little kid said, "One mind. One mind, one mind," which means stay focused on what it is that you're doing. You have to. I mean, the distractions, okay, so you know they're distractions, let them stay like that. But if you have a task to do, if somebody cut your paycheck off and you were focusing on distraction, then you don't need to get paid. But that Last Samurai piece, I think about that a lot when I'm thinking about something else I'm doing, because of the fact that if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to get my ass kicked. And Walmart will kick your butt.
Good. That's a good response.
That makes sense? That makes sense? Yeah, I'm serious.
Thanks for keeping that real, brother. I mean, that's real.
Hey,
that's real. I wasn't ready for the ass piece, but I mean, that's...
My name is Langston Terrell. I'm a senior business entrepreneurship major from Southern University at New Orleans, which is the only system that's in the HBCU system, is the Southern system, just to let y'all know. And my favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes is, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So my question to the whole panel is, what was one of your biggest failures coming up through your career?
Let's each panelist take about 30 seconds. Go ahead, brother.
I think one of my biggest failures actually early in my career, I was an intern, and I was pretty zealous coming out of undergraduate school thinking that I knew a lot. And I had an opportunity for that intern to convert into a full-time opportunity. And I actually had a brother who managed me, and I was really aggressive and did not listen to what he told me. And I didn't get the opportunity because I was not focused, as the brother mentioned earlier, and I was really thinking that I deserved to get the job just because of the school that I went to and the grades that I had, but I didn't really take the time to listen. So that was one of the biggest failures, and from then on, I recognized, you know, you have to respect leadership, and you need to focus, and you need to contribute.
Thank you, brother.
My biggest failure was not listening to direction, feeling that I knew more than the process, more than the leaders that I was under. So, and it affected my career very early at Booz Allen. I actually was held back, and I thought I was on a track upwards. And through that process and through that experience, it projected me much quicker to where I am today, because of listening and actually taking what I believe was constructive feedback, constructive guidance. And that's the other thing, you fellas, you have to understand is, you know, just because somebody's giving you constructive criticism doesn't mean it's personal. It's all about business here. But I was one of those individuals who would really take that personal, and you could see it. You could wear it, you know, perception, face, or whatever the case may be. And so through those issues and through that experience, I was able to move past it.
You know, I'm a word monger, y'all. So I believe the words we use dictate in many ways how we live our life, and I choose not to use words like failure. I choose to use words like lessons. So the biggest lessons, because at the end of the day, if I start talking about capacity for mistake or failure, it starts to potentially affect my confidence. If my confidence is affected, then I'm not going to take risk. I'm going to be fearful of taking risk. And ultimately, to be successful, we must take risk. But one of the biggest lessons I learned, or a catastrophic lesson I learned, is in the area of investing. I'm a very active investor. I own a hotel in New Orleans. I own a great deal of rental property. I own a few buildings in Newark here, and stock market, etc. And I made a very, very, very large bet on internet startup, which was financially a large lesson to learn, because it was something that was a sure thing, as it was explained to me and as I did my due diligence. But that sure thing turned out to be a not so sure thing. And so you ultimately learn lessons along the way. Yet, it still doesn't deter me from the willingness to continue to take risks. Because again, to progress, you will have to step out and take risks.
So I'm still having lessons to this day, but one of the experiences I've had that stands out is that I went to school 1 year at Elizabeth City State University, and had a great experience, was in the honors program, came home, DC, Maryland was my home, came back, enrolled at Bowie State, and essentially dropped out of school. I washed trucks at UPS, drove a Coca-Cola truck, got a Class B driver's license, and tried to find I sold insurance. What else did I do? I did a lot of things to try to be successful, besides buckling down and focusing on education. And so, what happened throughout that time is I kept hearing my mother's voice, and she continued to say to me in my head over and over again, whatever you do, please get your degree. So fortunately for me, I was able to come back from that and achieve some success in education. So that's my story.
Mine was that I didn't trust myself. So I listened to Maya Angelou's words. She said that when people show you who they really are, believe them. And believe them the first time. Don't try to make them something that they're not, because they will take you for granted. And it bit me in the butt a couple of times where sometimes I've been the only or one of two African Americans in a company, and then you start sharing things with other people who you think are something that they're not, and then they ended up telling something to somebody else that I had said when I shared it with them in confidence, and it came back and it haunted me. I didn't lose my job behind it, but it made me stop talking to people and opening up and trusting them. So when I finally decided to take people for who they are, I learned from that, and I trust my gut. So I learned from the mistake of not taking people for who they really are, and that goes across the line from friends to family to jobs.
And just real quick, just a lesson that can we say lesson?
Yeah. Lesson learned.
Okay, lesson learned. Well, because what he said, I mean, it makes sense what he said, and I want to, because I told you from the beginning, I'm a lifelong student. Real quickly, the lesson that I learned, I think and it kind of goes back to the brother that talked about the distractions. When I went to Delaware State University, I went on a band scholarship. and I was the singer for the band. That's when I used to think that I was going to be the next Luther Vandross. And then I realized that everybody was singing circles. See, I used to sing the national anthem for the New York Yankees baseball game when I was in high school. And everybody was yelling and screaming, and I thought I was the man. But that's before I realized that everybody yells and screams at anybody who sings the national anthem. But I didn't know that at the time because I was 14, 15, 16 years old. And I thought I was the man. And then when I went to Delaware State, you're in the marching band and you're the singer for the marching band. I mean, women everywhere. I didn't know what I was going to, and talking about distractions, I ended up with a 0.8 GPA. Now, and that's the truth. I tell people some 4, some 2 master's degrees and a PhD later. I tell people that story and they're shocked, but I'm really honest and transparent with that. But the lesson that I learned in that is that when I would walk up to these women, I ran into the wrong one. It happened to be Miss Delaware State University, and I didn't know that. And I was shooting mad game to her, and I said, "What's up?" You know, that's before y'all started saying, "What's up, Mom?" We were saying it back in the 80s. So I was like, "What's up?" And she said, "Chemistry, math, journalism, English. What's up with you?" And that was a lesson learned. And she sat me down. She sat, no, really, and it's a true story. She sat me down and really taught me, and to this day, she's a big sister to me because never again did I disrespect another one. And now I wish I could have gone back to 21 women that I slept with in my first week at band camp, which I'm thankful to God I'm clean. I mean, but you know, but that was a lesson learned. I'm just keeping it real.
Focus, Doctor.
I'm keeping it real.
Focus.
I'm keeping it real.
Focus.
Yes. Motivate these brothers.
My question is more of a proposal to help today. All of us in here go to HBCUs. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, my name is Roche Roussel. I go to Southern University in Baton Rouge. And all of us go to HBCUs. We all have a lot of problems, from dorms looking like the projects to refund checks coming 8 weeks late to any other issue we run into on campus. So my question to help, I heard it from you early and also Mr. Bankston. How do we change our community to the point, because I know that's one thing I'm struggling with, also working with the SUNO SGA president. How do we change the mentality of our students to, fix a pothole before we spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars on people coming for homecoming, or, do something productive?